Oh, bloody hell, guys. That was one freaking insane, crazy, mind-numbing E3. Uh, let's just get started, eh? Man, so it started off, but by the way, preface here, I'm not going to go over absolutely everything. This is just some stuff that I've got opinions on, and I might even pass up on some of the stuff that I've got written down here, but like, yeah. So, anyway, so it started off with Microsoft. Man, Microsoft, I am so glad Microsoft brought it this year. they done a really, really, really freaking good job of bringing it back, because I was absolutely certain that this was going to be it for them. They were going to have, like, if they had one more bad showing, I don't think they could have recovered from the insane beatdown Sony's been putting on them. Sony and Nintendo, really. Yeah, no, they had an amazing showing. They had 50 games to show off. Biggest lineup of games I think in any E3. And there was like 15 or 17 of them were exclusives. I don't know if they were like exclusive, like full exclusive, or just kind of timed exclusives. But yeah, they showed off so much stuff. They had like 15 world premieres, I think, on the stage as well. It was absolutely astonishing to see what they'd done. So here's what I've got. They didn't cancel Crackdown like I thought they would in my previous video. But yeah, they had an excellent showing. Plenty to be excited for Xbox owners. They finally have ample reason to be excited to own their Xbox One X's now. Their big 4K console that they jumped on. Ori, I am so jealous. Like, I'm pretty sure it'll come to PC as well, but Ori and the Will of the Wisps looks absolutely freaking amazing. Like, the first game was adorable. I didn't complete the first game, but I played through quite an awful lot of it when I first got it. And yeah, man, Ori is like just the music alone in that game is absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, Ori looked amazing. They're doubling down on their triptych of games, their Halo, their Gears. Like they've got what's it, Halo Infinite is coming out, which is a sequel to like their latest Halo game. I don't know how they're going to top Infinite in terms of titles, so like they better be cautious of when using something like that. Gears 5. It was just called Gears 5. It wasn't called Gears of War 5. It was just called Gears 5, which is weird. And Forza. They've done a new Forza. It's set in the UK, and it's got like weather. Like it changed. Like the seasons can change in the game. So like you can play in the tracks in snow. You can play it during the spring when it's all kind of rainy and things like that. Autumn, the leaves are everywhere. It's windy, and in summer, so like that, like all the tracks, everywhere you go in the game, is subject to having all these different things that change the environment. Like in winter, the lakes freeze over and things like that, so you can drive on the lakes. Yes, that looked pretty cool. Ninja Theory got bought by Microsoft. Like, Microsoft went on a massive crusade this year, apparently, and bought, like, 5 studios, and one of them was Ninja Theory. The guys that made Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice most recently. They're the guys that made DMC Devil May Cry, which is one of my favourite Devil May Cry games. Like, the action in that game is absolutely phenomenal. They're the ones that made Enslaved: Odyssey to the West. Man, I can't believe it. Microsoft have got them now. We'll never again see a Ninja Theory game on PlayStation, and that is heart-wrenching for me because I love Ninja Theory so much. But yeah, no, good for them. Like, absolutely, like, that is an amazing studio to pick up if you're going to pick up something to dish out the good old 1-2 to your competition. Ninja Theory is definitely up there as one of the best studios to, like, indie studios that you could have picked up. They should have Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, which is From Software's new sort of I suppose it might be Souls-like. I don't know. I couldn't really tell from the trailer, but like it's like a sort of samurai, kind of ninja samurai sort of thing going on with the mechanical arm and all that. That was the thing that was teased at the Game Awards last year. I think it was the Game Awards. Yeah, I think so. And that was the thing with the bloody mechanical thing getting twisted and stuff. That it turns out that's his arm. That's his mechanical arm, actually. And then at the very end, the entire thing got hacked. Fake hacked. It wasn't a real hack. But Cyberpunk 2077 was shown off as well in the trailer form. They didn't show gameplay, but they showed, like, it was in engine. It was in game sort of footage that they were using, but it wasn't like gameplay of the game. But man, that game looks amazing. That game looks absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, man, Microsoft's presser was absolutely great, totally great. They showed off quite a lot of games. Most of them were multi-platform or whatever, but like yeah, like those 17 exclusives, man. You've got an awful lot there to be excited for. They done DLC for Cuphead and all that. Like off the top of my head, I'm just trying to think of what else. DLC for Cuphead, which is adding a new character. I think they were adding like a couple of new stages or challenges or something like that to it, which was really cool. But yeah, let's move on to really disappointing. And I'm only going to like dip into a couple of things because this EA's one was absolutely abhorrent. It was just like a bunch of businessmen talking business and trying to sound like they're for the people, for the consumer. And it's like, they're doing this and that, and no loot boxes, woo, as if that's something to be proud of, you know what I mean? As if it shouldn't already be a given that there should not be loot boxes in your game. They're like, yeah, we're not going to do loot boxes, no. That's amazing, isn't it? It's like, yeah, for you it is. For everybody else, it's like, it's just normal everyday occurrence. But yeah, it was just a lot of black-hearted corporate nonsense dressed up as being consumer-friendly propaganda, you know. But the things, like the two total beautiful things, like even in the roughest terrain, even in the most like unfertile of soil, you can get something beautiful. And they showed off, they shadow dropped Unravel 2, which is a sequel to the original Unravel, which is that little yarn guy in his kind of puzzle platforming game. And but Unravel 2 is like a co-op adventure, so like you and your pal can sort of couch co-op Unravel 2 together, which, man, and it was shadow dropped, so that means like that's like it's on the PSN, it's on the stores right now, you know, it's on Xbox Live right now. So that was amazing, and that was heartfelt and beautiful. And then they showed off this German lady came out and showed off a game called SOS Sea of Solitude, and you can hear it in her voice. She was really nervous, and but she was passionate about her game. You know, she had an awful lot to say, and she wanted to talk about what it meant to her and things like that. And and the game looked phenomenal. The game looked absolutely beautiful. And then EA came back on stage and were just talking their corporate freaking nonsense again. And that just pissed me off. So yeah, EA's was like a big stinky like 2 to 10, and the only points that were given there like were for the beauty of like their little tiny showing of independent guys, you know. Bethesda, I've got here. Doom Eternal was shown, the sequel to the new Doom. Their Hell on Earth. Like, it's gotten really bad. Obviously, it's not just on Mars anymore. They've spread. And the Doom guy is coming back. And he's going to kick some freaking demon ass. Which, yeah, the trailer for that looked flipping amazing. Most of the stuff at Bethesda I wasn't really that bothered about. Like, the Prey stuff looked quite good, but I've still not really played Prey. Like, I had a shot at the first maybe 10-15 minutes of it, but I've not really played it, so... Yeah, I don't know. There was they showed off extensively Fallout 76. They were showing off quite an awful lot of that. They shadow dropped Fallout Shelter as well. Fallout Shelter is coming to. It was shadow dropped, so it's already on like PSN and like the Nintendo Network and things like that. Overall, Bethesda's thing, their conference was like, it felt kind of self-congratulatory. Like they were kind of like, you know, every 2 seconds stopping for applause and things like that, as if they, you know, we deserve it. You know, we were amazing. I mean, they they freaking got Andrew WK out to do like a song for Rage 2, like at the very start of the show. Like Andrew WK came out and done like one song and then left. And if that's not self-congratulatory, I don't know what is. I mean, I love Andrew WK, I think he's freaking awesome, but like getting someone like Andrew WK out to perform one song and then leave again, and that's it. It's just like, we're Bethesda, we can control everyone. So yeah, it just felt like they were kind of, you know, penis measuring. You know, we're amazing. Look at us. Look how big we are. But yeah, so Rage 2 though. Speaking of Andrew WK and Rage 2, it looked like some of the powers in that looked really cool, but it just kind of looked like another shooter. Like I'm not trying to disparage id Software or Avalanche, because I love, I absolutely adore Avalanche Software for like their Mad Max game and like Just Cause and Just Cause 3 and things like that. But aside from some of the kind of cool looking powers, it just kind of looked like a normal shooter. They did say it was a seamless open world though, so I'm assuming that means like seamless means like there's no loading between interior and exterior places and things like that. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, and they teased Fallout. They teased the Elder Scrolls 6 at the very, very, very end. They were like, we're working on it, but it's not coming till next gen. Like, this will be a game that comes out on the next consoles that are coming out, you know? So they showed like a 30-second like teaser of like a camera panning over some wilderness, and that was it for the Elder Scrolls 6. Moving on to Ubisoft now though. I don't have anything else to say really about Bethesda. Like, it's just the usual. They're talking about Quake Champions and things like that. But anyway, Ubisoft, guys, oh my goodness, what a, like, this was another great conference. They showed off so many cool things. First of all, I've got to say, I'm probably going to die before I ever see it, but Beyond Good and Evil 2, that trailer, that trailer freaking blew my mind. And like the quick reveal at the end. I don't want to spoil it if you've not seen it, but like after this, go and watch the Beyond Good and Evil 2 trailer for E3 2018 if you've not seen it yet, because oh my goodness, there's like, it's a really good trailer, and at the very end you're like, whoa. It's like that total, you know, very cliffhangery thing at the end. They showed off some more stuff about Skull and Bones. They showed that you actually have like a character now. Like you're not just like building up a pirate ship and like you're this pirate ship. You're like actually this captain guy. So you can go to this kind of hub area and like upgrade your captain and give him you know, perks and things like that, and upgrade your ship from the hub world, this island or whatever, you know. So yeah, it looked, you know, like I was kind of already in on Skull and Bones. I was already kind of like, yeah, this looks really good. But now that you've got that character customization, I think I'm even more in now. And I'm not up for like online multiplayer at all. But like, this might be the one thing that gets me into it. Like I hate online like fighting against other people online. But I don't know, the boat combat in like Assassin's Creed was just so much fun. Like I think having like ship combat online would be really 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 fun to like fight other people over like treasure. They showed off a new Trials game. I've always wanted to play Trials Fusion, and it was out on PSN this month. I've still not downloaded it yet, so I'm gonna have to get on that. Trials Fusion looks pretty good, but they showed off a new Trials game, which was, what was it, Trials Rising? Trials Uprising? Trials Rising, I think it was called. And you know, they done this really funny skit on stage where this guy comes down and he's like real life sort of guy. The presenter of it comes down on a motorbike all dressed like Evel Knievel and that. comes down the middle of the aisle between all the audience and that, and then like runs up on stage and then face plants through a table and monitor. It was just really, really, really silly. So yeah, new Trials game looks really good. They were talking about how they've got people from sort of the higher end echelon of the community working on to tweak the game and balance it, and like, you know, helping Ubisoft with like sort of try to make it like more friendly for people who are just kind of sort of getting into the game and all that. Doing like building up tutorials that like show every kind of aspect of like how to control the bike and stuff. So that looked really good. They also showed off DLC for the Donkey Kong. It was a Donkey Kong DLC for Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle on the Switch. Man, what can I say? Like, I'm in. I love Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong is one of my favourite Nintendo characters. So yeah, all you had me at Donkey Kong, Ubisoft. You had me at Donkey Kong, Nintendo. They also showed off Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Guys, I'm sick of Assassin's Creed so much. I played Syndicate. I loved Syndicate. But they just keep on bringing them out. Like I missed out on Unity. Picked up Syndicate. Loved Syndicate. And then, what was the previous one? Assassin's Creed Origins, I think it was. I don't think there was another one after Syndicate. But like, I'm just sick of the same formula over and over and over again. But like, they seem to have done enough this time. Like, they've added enough RPG sort of elements into it this time to make me interested in this. It's a big open world like they always have, but they've got like, you know, they've got gear and everything in it this time. You know, like loot, you know, grinding for loot and things like that. Leveled like enemies who have actual levels and things like that. So I think I stupidly missed out on Origins because I thought it was just going to be another Assassin's Creed game. So like, I think I might pick up Origins now, just to see what the, you know, Assassin's Creed Odyssey has in store for me, because I just assumed Origins was just going to be like just like all the other ones, just like another Assassin's Creed. But Odyssey looks very, very impressive. The one thing I will mark them down for though, no new Rayman game. Where's Bring Rayman back. You brought him back for a couple of games and now he's nowhere to be seen. Rayman is freaking adorable. And he's always a good time. He's always fun. So like, bring Rayman back. Get a new Rayman game on the go. I want to play Rayman again. But yeah, that's it for Ubisoft. Man, there are so many more things I'm going to talk about now. Like, the last two are Sony and Nintendo. So I'm just going to go through Sony first and then quickly finish with Nintendo. Sony showed off their 4 main titles that they were going to show off. They showed off The Last of Us 2, Spider-Man, what was it again? Death Stranding, and Ghost of Tsushima. So, first of all, The Last of Us 2, Sony done this really weird thing. Like, as much as I really enjoyed their showing of games, they showed off a lot of good games that I was interested in, but they've done this really weird thing where they had the very first section of their presentation in like this kind of built up church area. So people were, it was almost like they were in a congregation for a church, and they showed off the trailer for The Last of Us 2, and then it clicked. It was like, oh right, okay, the start of the trailer was in this kind of church area, so it was made to make the people who were there watching it feel like they were actually in this church area in the game, you know. But it was just weird because like what about all the people at home though? So after the trailer had finished, and believe me, the trailer was freaking excellent. Like, some of the stuff that, just the attention to detail and some of the things that were going on in this trailer, like when all the sneaking about and all the combat and all that started up, all that detail, like just things like pulling like arrows out of the guy's shoulder as you walk by him and things like that, so you can reload arrows and things. You like, somebody scatters arrows on the ground when they get hit, and then you walk by and pick the 3 arrows up and like reload them into your holster and that. Just things like that, little, like, it's not like you press a button and they're instantly vanished from the floor and in your pouch, you know. She picks them up and puts them away, and it just looked excellent. But Sony just done this really weird thing. So when the demo was over, they got everybody who was in this like built up church thing to get up and leave the venue to go into the proper venue, like the main venue that they were going to show everything else. And it was like, why? Didn't he do that? Don't do that again, Sony. That's a bad idea, especially for the people who are staying up at all hours of the night at home. Like me, I had to stay up from 2 till 4 to watch this in the morning. Like, stayed up for ages, and I was like, when this happened, I tweeted it to them. I was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "It's 2 in the freaking morning for me. What are you wasting my time for?" It's like, your stock's plummeting. Stop killing yourselves. Yeah, it was strange. It was really weird. But after that bump, after that hurdle, they hit it in high gear. Like, so The Last of Us was freaking excellent. It was absolutely phenomenal. They showed off... Oh man, like, I can't remember the order of things, so I'm just going to go in the order that I've got it here. And this was the last thing that they showed as well. It was Spider-Man, the Spider-Man game that they showed off at the very end. Showed off a mission where they were on the raft, and I think the raft is the maximum security prison for all the total metahuman kind of characters. Is that the thing that Tony Stark had? Was that in like Captain America the Civil War? Was that the big prison, the Supermax prison that was in Civil War? I don't know. But Spider-Man's like there, and he's fighting like total Electro and like the Scorpion dude and like the Vulture and the Mr. Negative and that, and it's just this really high octane, like swinging about everywhere. Guys, I miss Bionic Commando so much, and watching this trailer made me long for more Bionic Commando. Like, I was like, man, this is great, but I want to play I want to play a new Bionic Commando, and. But this is just going to have to be my next best thing, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to have to grin and bear that Capcom are not interested in making a new Bionic Commando. So I'll get Spider-Man, and that'll maybe make me feel like Nathan Spencer again. Anyway, Spider-Man looked great though, and I'm definitely going to get it. So it looks really good. They showed off. They done it. They finally done it. Right. I completely forgot to talk about Devil May Cry 5 in the Microsoft thing. Devil May Cry 5 was shown off. That was fantastic. Capcom are back again. Resident Evil 2 remake, guys. Freaking yes! I was watching this. It was like, it's just this weird trailer that starts off and like it's in the first person view of like what you would maybe imagine, like a rat or an insect is kind of crawling about. You're in its vision, and it's kind of crawling up all the counters and things like that. And yeah, you hear the struggle between two people. So the counters get knocked over, the shelving gets knocked over, and then it crushes the rat. That comes out of the rat's point of view, and you see this guy getting total like bitten by a zombie, and like freaking zombie's head gets shot off, and it's like Leon Kennedy's there, and you're like, yes, yes, yes. That is how you do it. That's how you do it. Resident Evil 2, and then the trailer goes on for a wee bit more. Shows some Claire Redfield. It showed there was an other trailer as well. There was like a gameplay trailer as well, which was freaking excellent because it shows you how the game like looks like to play. Like, it's kind of like you're able to choose between fixed cameras, classic style, like classic Resident Evil 2, or over the shoulder Resident Evil 4 style. So I'll be playing it over the shoulder Resident Evil 4 style, but for those purists out there who are totally up for like old school classic Resident Evil, that's such a cool thing to add both of them, you know. That is amazing. But yeah, oh goodness me, I'm so uncomfortable sitting in this wee chair that I'm sitting in this tiny wee chair, too wee for my big bum. but yeah, Resident Evil 2 was shown. That was so good. It was like that was probably what like I think Devil May Cry 5 and Resident Evil 2 were probably my games of my games of E3 so far. What they've showed off, because like I was just blown away. Like I didn't think it would happen. And it's Capcom as well. Like, Capcom, please bring back Bionic Commando. Bionic Commando next, please. If Mike Huber can get Resident Evil 2 back, and Ben Moore can get Devil May Cry 5, you can give me Bionic Commando, come on. They showed off Neo 2, which is weird, because like Neo is already, like, it just came out not that long ago. Like, it was only like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago or something like that Neo came out. And now they're already showing off like there's a sequel, and like, I don't know, is that William Adams that's in the trailer? If it's William Adams in the trailer, he can now turn into a demon for some reason. He can turn into an Oni now. Yeah, it looked good. I've not played an awful lot of the first game, but it's one of the games that I've got on my backlog, and I damn well have to play it because it looks freaking great. And then they showed off, man, this is like the trifecta of like the trilogy of like ninja / samurai things, because like they had that what was it called again? And the Sekiro, the Microsoft one, Neo 2, and now Ghosts of Tsushima, guys. Ghost of Tsushima is Sony's new IP from, is it Sucker Punch? I think it's Sucker Punch. Yeah, Sucker Punch are working on it. And it's like during the Mongolian invasion of Japan, and yeah, so like they showed off this just this epic as all hell trailer for Ghost of Tsushima, and it's just like standing there totally still, wear the samurai style, and like slash, guy's dead straight away. You know what I mean? Like this is like the patience and, you know, like the discipline of being a total samurai, you know, being absolutely 100% cautious, but also at 100% at the ready. You know, like it just looked so epic to see like the combat in the game. It had like a cool grappling hook, so you can climb up walls of buildings and things like that. The trailer ended with this like one-on-one samurai total fight showdown with like the friend that he was battling alongside earlier in the trailer, and like all these Mongols start firing arrows into the fields, and like the fields start getting on fire, and everyone's like, this looks so good. It just looked so freaking amazing. So yeah, probably alongside Devil May Cry and Resident Evil 2, I think Ghost of Tsushima was my one of my games of E3. Showed off Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3, guys! They showed off that there's like, they went going back to the Pirates of the Caribbean world as well. I didn't think Pirates of the Caribbean was still popular enough to warrant that world being present in this new game. Especially when there's other things that could have been used, like, you know, Marvel and Star Wars. They might still do it, they might still have those worlds in the game, but like, I'm thinking, you know, like, they're kind of wasting, you know, all these cool things that they could have. You know, Sora superhero, or Sora the Sith Sora. Can you imagine that? He comes into the total like the he comes into the total the Star Wars universe, and he's totally tempted by the dark side. Would that not just be the coolest freaking thing ever? Like, and it's like Donald and Goofy and like all that are trying to bring him back, you know, towards you know the Jedi Order, you know. Oh man. That would have been cool. Anyway, guys, they showed off Death Stranding. Death Stranding. That is a game that is an enigma to me. I have no idea what it is. And I've seen gameplay of it, and I still don't know what it is. You see a gun in the gameplay. They don't shoot it. There's no shooting or anything like that in the trailer. They use their cool wee backpack flashy light thing to total detect these interdimensional man fetuses that are floating through the sky. And there's an awful lot of walking and like taking cargo places. Like they've got like these little floating things that kind of follow behind them in there, or they carry them on their back or whatever like that. So I don't know what this game is. And it is very, very strange to me that they show off another trailer and make it a gameplay trailer, and it still doesn't make any sense. It's something to do with different dimensions. It's something to do with time travel or something like that, or like different timelines. Like if you die, something explodes and there's a crater there, but you're still alive, or something like that. I have no idea. But yeah, there's quite an awful lot of stuff that was announced after Sony's event, and online as well. Like there was trailers released for other things and that as well. So quickfire, they're bringing Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise West. That's the Fist of the North Star game made by the Yakuza team. So it's got a name. It's officially called Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise over here in the West, and it has English and Japanese dub. Dual language selection in this game, guys. See, when I was watching the trailer and I heard it in English, I was like, no! And then at the very end it was like, whapa! It totally showed off this. Like, I actually said it at the end of the trailer, dual language support, you know. It's like, yes! That's it. That's how you do it. Valkyria Chronicles 4 had a new trailer, and not much to say about that. I love the first game. I've not finished the first game. I got really close to the end though, but then for some reason I stopped and just played something else, and I can't remember why, because like I was playing that game and I loved it. But the new trailer looks excellent. It looks like it's going back to its roots instead of that stupid Valkyria Revolution or what it was, or Revolutia or whatever. But yeah, Valkyria Chronicles 4 looks great. Yakuza Kiwami 2 has been officially announced for the West as well, so I'm happy. I'm really, really happy. There is plenty more stuff, by the way. If you go to YouTube and just type in each of the publishers' like YouTube channels, like type in PlayStation, type in Bethesda, type in Xbox, you know, I'm sure you'll find trailers that I've not even covered here that will be of interest to you, because there's tons and tons of stuff that I've missed out on, by the way. And finally, I'm just gonna, like, this has went on for way too long. I'm gagging for a drink. I need something to drink. Super Mario Party was announced at Nintendo. They showed this cool wee clever thing where you can like undock your Switch and put your Switches next to each other to create maps, so your characters can run around these like custom maps and mini games. I don't know how it works, but like it looked really clever. Smash Brothers Ultimate, Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. Every character from every previous Smash Brothers game is back. So the roster is the biggest roster that's ever had, like all like 64 characters or something like that from every one of the previous games is back. And they also announced so there's 66 characters in total, and so the Inklings have been one of the new characters that's been added, and they also added Ridley from Metroid as one of the characters everybody's been wanting to fight against. Ridley's really, really big though in the Metroid series, so they had to scale him down a bit. they had to scale him down to maybe about Donkey Kong size in order to actually get him to play properly, because Ridley's a big boy. Ridley's a biggin. I can't remember if this was at the Square Enix event. It probably was at the Square Enix event, but I'm going to cover it on the Nintendo thing here. Octopath Traveler was also shown. Damn, I'm into that. And that comes out like later. Is it later this month or is it next month? It's coming out soon anyway. I think it's like June 26th or something like that it comes out. My goodness. And also, to finish it off, to top everything off, guys, cherry on top, Hollow Knight was shadow dropped. So you can go on your Nintendo Network on your Switch right now. You go into your store and buy Hollow Knight. Yeah, just go and get that. I'm gonna stop recording, assemble all this footage and video together, and then when I'm done, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go into my Nintendo Switch and get Hollow Knight, because you owe it to yourselves to play one of the best Metroidvania style games that's come out in recent memory from an indie developer. So guys, my lungs are gonna collapse from all the talking that I've just done. So my lungs are so sore. Why is my lungs so sore? Anyway, guys, if I've missed anything out, I'll pop it on at the end of this video as like maybe a few seconds of each trailer or whatever if I've missed something out. Otherwise, though, thank you so much for watching. That was E3 2018. At least all the stuff that I cared about, or at least all the stuff that I was interested in seeing and like wanted to speak and mention on, you know. Yeah, fantastic all round. Great year for gamers. I don't think anything will ever live up to Sony's conference where they showed off like Shenmue and Final Fantasy VII Remake, though. That was the E3 of dreams that year. But yeah, what an overall excellent showing from nearly everybody, EA excluded, because they're just pure evil. And Bethesda's was kind of weird as well, with their kind of self-congratulatory attitude. But outside of that, guys, what a phenomenal E3. And I hope you agree with me. Any games that I've missed out that you were enjoying, that you thought were fantastic, that I've missed out here, mention in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Bye!